doing it.
All right. I think I'm on the right setting here. Make sure. Yes, sir. My phone's a dinging away, telling me we're live. Only 4 minutes late. Can you believe it? We're getting closer to 2 p.m. every single time and 11 a.m. Whatever. But don't jinx it. We could. Now, we're going to get onto it live from your mom's house. This is OnlyFrets.
You're live in 3, 2, 1.
Gonna be honest with you, I don't know if that intro played on my channel.
Jimmy,
Live.
Biter, welcome in. Did you hear the intro song or did you just see video? Please let us know. I don't know if it plays on Jonathan's channel, but let me know.
It could be because I'm monitoring. I got, like I was telling Sean, I got a new little interface here, just a little cheapo thing off Amazon for about $30, and I'm monitoring through that so I can hear myself, make sure everything sounds good. So it could just be that, but the volume was going up in OBS. But anyway, I digress. All right. So what are we kicking off with today, Sean? What you got?
Today the Rocks Flying V. Yep. Just I saw your latest video on your Gibson Flying V that you had a few months back, and I was inspired to anyway, I am not warmed up, but yeah, I was inspired to have the V in the lap today. So
Sweet.
little cherry red action. Sounds like, or looks like you've got some cherry red on your lap as well, sir.
I do, and it's the only color that an SG should ever be, in my opinion. This is my 61 standard Gibson that I have lovingly named after Mia Moore. I know some people would say otherwise. I call it my devil bitch. Yeah, that's my little nickname for my wife, and she's in on it. She likes it. It's a term of endearment. Trust me, but
yeah.
I might be out of tune. Typical for an SG. Nope, I just suck.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm not warmed up either. I've not played guitar all day. I've been busy working.
Dude, I had a little Instagram exchange with Nick Perry recently where I was asking him how he did this part on a solo for one of his songs. And he actually, he sent me, you know, Lord bless him, he sent me a little demonstration of how he was doing it. Like making thing. Obviously, it's much faster than that. And then he comes all the way up here to like 15. It's like bra-ta-ta-ta-ta, bra-ta-ta-ta-ta, bra-pa-pa-pa-pa.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
So
Yeah.
it's really cool, like little part that I just couldn't figure out on my own.
Right.
And I am eternally grateful that he took the time to like take a little video. And guess what he was playing in that video? Cherry Red SG, buddy.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
They're nice. They really are. Although you did hurt Hand Banana's feelings when you said that the only acceptable color is cherry red. Now, let me ask you this. Is this style, the triple, like 61 or whatever, 63 or whatever it was, Les Paul with the triple, like custom, is that acceptable in a yellowish white?
Yes, to me again that. Now I've seen
With the gold, right?
with the gold. Yeah. Now see, I'm not a stickler for gold hardware. I love gold hardware. You can bite me if you don't. I don't care. I've seen one other one like that with the triple humbucker. I usually only see them in white or like vintage white. I saw one in black,
Mhm.
and I thought that was kind of cool, but black SGs just don't do it for me. I'm sorry,
I think
just don't.
black and gold with the triple humbuckers belongs on the Les Paul.
Yeah,
Like that, the Les Paul. I don't like white Les Paul customs, like
really,
at all.
because I prefer
I don't
those.
like I don't like white Les Pauls. I've even had the opportunity to like play a couple of them and stuff, and I'm just not a fan of the white or vintage white Les Paul. I mean,
You want to
it
say it again?
doesn't
You want to say it again?
not to her face. Um, that's a little different because it's just the top.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not a like a big fan of. I like it better on the SG body style than I do on the Les Paul. And I think that the black Les Paul customs with the triple pickup, they look so sick to me.
Yeah.
But not a fan of the white ones that I've seen for whatever reason.
Huh.
It's funny how that like we all have our own little, some guys love like bright blue, like deep blue sea blue guitars, and I just don't like blue guitars very much. I have that one, and
Yeah.
I like it, but it's like, a
If you could
little
have another
different.
color, maybe you would probably want another. I get it. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, I like red, but I'm just so tired of red, which is funny because my
Yeah.
60s Les Paul has the red, but see, it's got other stuff going on with it. Like with SGs, can't say
Yeah.
flame top. If I see an SG with a flame top, immediate no, can't do it. Don't like it.
With
Sue me.
flame?
Yeah, can't do it. But see, I'm not a flamey person
Really?
anyway. Yeah, I'm not a flame
Okay.
person anyway. I like a plain top. Just if it's got a little bit, okay.
Okay.
But when it's like this is quadruple A, I'm like, keep it. I don't care. I don't want it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like I like this one because it's got a little bit of
All
grain
good.
showing through. But anyway, yeah. So
What up, Steve Gunner? How you doing?
hello, Steve. So that'll tie nicely kind of into the topic of today then, or one of them. We have a kind of open discussion going, but I'll be honest with you. Okay, I did use ChatGPT to try to get inspiration for a topic, and it did ask one thing that I thought was actually pretty good. Are guitar forums kind of still relevant nowadays? And that could be, Reddit, that can be any kind of guitar forum that you might get on. Sounds like maybe a silly topic, but I've kind of actually run across this myself. Mainly when I look for like information on, like, sometimes you'll just Google like this guitar or whatever. I was looking for information on this, for example. In my experience, I tend to find either Reddit posts, kind of people saying, giving some advice, or it's just older posts. It's like no one posts on forums anymore. I'm not a big forum hunter. Like I don't get on forums. I'm barely on Reddit as it is. But I don't know. That's just kind of my experience. I always seem to see like 10 years ago forum posts from like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's the last time it was updated. And that's like the most relevant information. I mean, I know it sounds like a silly topic, but I was like, that's a pretty good question. So are they? I don't know.
Well, I would say this. The conversation has moved. Yes. Steve says I take Reddit with huge amounts of salt. Not a grain, maybe a full teaspoon. Yeah. But I will say this. Most of the conversation has moved to the comments section. What would you say, like partitioned off into Facebook groups?
Yeah.
And then Discord has really become, like all of our echo chambers. So like if you start a Discord, it's going to be full of people that mostly agree with you. Right. And that's good because there's a lot less infighting that way. And I think you end up with more of a community, like a small community of people, rather than like posting to Reddit for all of the world to just freaking stomp your idea out,
Right.
But I think, the gear page and, all those days I feel like have passed at this point. And like, we all know that the gear page has become, even for all of us who visited it all the time, has become like the butt of a joke, right? It's like, oh, whatever gear page, dude. Like, if somebody has some crappy thing to say in your comments section you're like, go back to the gear page, bro. You know,
Right.
I mean, like it's become sort of the butt of a joke or an insult. So, I mean, I think they served a really good purpose in springboarding like this online guitar community. My dad talked to Joe Perry on a gear page forum one time
Wow.
and he was looking for a Gibson Gold Tone amp pedal, which unlocks a secondary amplification system inside the Gibson Gold Tone amp. You have to have the pedal to access it. He was trying to find one. And Joe Perry played those amps. So he ended up talking to Joe Perry
Right.
on the gear page about it. And Joe was like, I'm not selling you my second pedal. Like, I need it. You know, he's like, fair enough.
Right. Yeah.
But you know, I think it opened up what we have now where I could like, I don't talk to Joe Perry, but I talk to Nick Perry on Instagram
Right.
and I talk to you on Instagram or I talk to, you know, Robert Baker or like, you know, Alex at Super Danger or Tom Butwin or like whatever you can, because of the gear page, we can now access like people and people are more apt to respond. So for that, I think it served a really positive purpose.
Right.
What do you think?
I kind of feel the same way, but I also, in a weird way, see. I don't want to say like a resurgence, but then you have you ever heard of Substack?
Yes. Yeah.
So
Substack's cool.
Substack's cool, and I think to my understanding, it's more for like writers, maybe journalists, things like that. But it's still
Yeah.
like a
That's how
forum
it
based
started.
kind of thing. That's how it started, right? So it's starting to turn more into like forum based kind of stuff, which I mean, obviously like Reddit and like 4chan and all that stuff, but don't go to 4chan because it's a hellhole over there. Um, but like Reddit and stuff, I mean, it's still an okay place, but it's like you said, when you get into like a certain subreddit, you might get some people that are in there that are just kind of parroting what other people say, and it's giant echo chamber. To me, I like the idea of like a general gear page or something like that, where you can go in there and ask a question, and you get that mixed bag of opinions. So a good example would be like the Les Paul forum. You know, um,
Yeah.
I've come across that a lot, especially when looking for like older Epiphones. You know, and people would be asking about them and stuff. And you would go there and you'd see people like, yeah, these are great, and you'd say, well, no, they're not great because of this reason, or I had this experience. It's like it was nice to get that before you kind of pull the trigger on something. But I don't know. I think they've kind of gone, like you said, the way of the dodo. But then there's that weird kind of resurgence in a different form where you have things like Facebook, Facebook groups. I mean, what is that? But just
Quora.
these giant, yeah, Quora, um, good old Yahoo
Yeah.
Answers, maybe if that's still somewhat relevant. Probably not, but
Ask
showing my age
Jeeves.
there. Ask Jeeves, yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that forums were nice, and I think if you can revisit them, especially if it's still something relevant, but again, you got to take everything you read on there anyway with a grain of salt, especially on Reddit, like you know, like you said.
Yeah.
But
Quick shout out to my buddy Mountain Man here. And then as Steve said, some of the Facebook groups are insanely toxic, almost worse than Reddit.
shout out to the Gibson Les Paul. Gibson Les Paul, great.
Dude, it's
Oh,
just
I
one
said
of the.
shout out
Wait,
to
who are you
the
shouting
shout
out?
out to the
Sorry.
Gibson Les Paul Facebook page. That is a toxic ass community. You go in there and post anything besides,
Really?
yeah. I mean, it's so bad. That's where I ended up going to.
Oof.
My experience with it was when I got my very first ever Les Paul. It was Epiphone Les Paul. It's my traditional Pro 2, the one I did a video on way back.
Oh,
And
yeah. Yeah.
and I posted it there, and I was like, oh, here's my first ever. And they're like, oh, it's just an Epiphone. It sucks. It's this. It's not a Gibson. This is a Gibson page. And I'm like, okay, it's still a Les Paul. And, you can't talk sense into the crazy people. And that's where I found the
No.
page that I'm in now. It's Epiphone Les Paul owners. That's a beautiful page. You got the crazy people in there, but, man, they welcome you with open arms and all that kind of stuff. And I've made a couple of good friends in there. I've got a friend that she lives in the UK. I don't know where she lives out there, but she lives in the UK, and we talk all the time. Like I just talked to her earlier today.
Yeah.
So I mean, great
Nice.
community over there.
That's not. You know what? That's an interesting point. Yeah, like, I find that the community, the budget guitar community, is way more like realistic and accepting, and there's some like hate for high-end instruments a little bit, like they're just ripping you off kind of stuff, like that
Right.
sort of vibe is like it's not worth the money. And while they may not always be wrong about that, I would say there is way less of that than there is, you know, cork sniffing in the high-end community. So like you say, you go to the Gibson gear page or Facebook group, and it's just Gibson only, everything else sucks, get out of here, made in the USA, blah 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 blah. And then you go to like, and then you go to the Epiphone one, and people are kind of like, whatever you have is the best guitar, like whatever guitar you have is the best guitar, you know, like for you. And like I've found that a lot, like you know, one of the members of sort of the YouTube circle that I'm involved in is actually a guitar manufacturer named Torsten, who runs Tease Guitars, and he does a budget guitar. They are made overseas. They're shipped to him. He sets them up in-house and then sends every one of them out. So he, you know, kind of takes what, like you know, a block of wood and whittles it into something, you know, into a statue. Like he kind of like makes it nice or nicer, and they get really good reviews on those guitars, and everybody in that circle is just like super, just like whatever you have, like we're not going to turn our nose at you. Even Jimmy over here on my channel right now, Jimmy Biter, he, you know, he does that, they do those live streams on OU812 crew, and they play really nice guitars, you know, lots of freaking like you know, there's Steinbergs, and there's or Steinbergers, or what are they called?
Steinberger.
Steinbergers, and there's, you know, why am I Friedman's, and like they have nice like boutique instruments that they play on stream and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they're like, they have no, you know, they have no snobbery about them at all. They're like, whatever you've got is good.
Well, and those are probably the same
And
people too that off of that be like, I don't, as long as someone's playing music and making music. And it's like, but weren't you just cussing the kid out over here because he couldn't afford your $2,000 equivalent of what he has or whatever? You know, it's
right.
We live in that world of just huge hypocrisy and just hate. Speaking of rude comments, should we address that?
Oh, dear. Yeah, real quick, shout out Keith, shout out USC. Thanks for jumping in, guys. And then let's get into some tea.
Yeah,
you know?
we got some. We're gonna spill it.
So what happened on one of your more recent videos?
So, because I've not had this happen in a while, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I made the choice of my own free will to get a nose ring, right? I have a septum piercing.
How dare you?
I know I'm very just whatever about it. I don't try to edit it out and all that, because it's something I wanted to do. And my God, does that piss off the internet? I've heard every joke under the sun a million times. It's a door knocker. I'm a bull. I'm a cow. I want to stick a 9-volt battery to it. Blah 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 blah. Take it out. Like, and my response is literally just, why do you care so much about a grown man's appearance? Why do you care? And this guy in particular, I forget his name, and really at the end of the day, he ended up deleting the whole thread because I called him out on what needed to be called out.
Hold on, I've got it. I'm gonna put him on blast right now, actually.
And for anybody that might be like, why are you doing this? Well, if you're gonna air your shit on the internet, I mean, we can get back at you. It's already out there.
It is what it is.
It's not a secret.
You showed up. You were, you know, a dick in public, and we have basically no patience for that. Oh crap!
And don't pull the internet tough guy, because if you want to pull up, hey,
pull up, son. Yeah, I invited him onto the Hold on, let me check my history because that'll have. I invited him to come to the stream, and we could talk about it.
And I don't think you did.
Because I was just like, yeah, I mean, if you no, I don't, not at all. But
If he did, he's not made himself
you know,
known.
we're gonna find it though. I'll find it. I just need to keep scrolling. Anyway, continue the story while I scroll here.
Yeah. So basically, he pulled the "What are you, a bull?" He said, "Ditch the nose ring," and I'm like, the only bull here is your bullshit. Like, why are you on here doing this? Like, and that's what I said. Is why do you care about another grown man's appearance? Blah 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 blah. And usually that'll stop it, and it kind of did. Nothing else really came of it. Then Sean jumped in there and said his piece of it, and they kind of had a little. I don't want to say a spat. I mean, it was more or less. I felt a lot of passive aggressiveness in there, or maybe he was like, "Oh, what did I do?" Long story short, he ended up coming through and saying, I think Sean said something about like, I don't get on your page, and you're like a decent guitar player, and I don't get on there and say this. That's like, why are you doing that? Just kind of thing.
Yeah. What I said was, I said, well, shit, dude. Like, should I just go over to your channel and then ignore the fact entirely that you're kind of a decent guitar player and just comment on things I dislike about your appearance? Like, would that be more productive? I would hope that you'd think I was.
Yeah.
I've been the
lead guitarist.
What I brought up, you haven't apologized, like you haven't shown, and it's like, dude, maybe less guitar at church and maybe more, church, because you're not acting, and that's what I was gonna say, and then
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, like you're not or anything like that, but
Licks for the Lord. Yeah, that's what Steve Gunner. That's what Steve Gunner said on my channel. He came over and he's asking about the yeah.
Oh, you're okay. Question. I asked him to show
Yes, I do. Right.
you don't have to watch mine.
So
You can make your own.
To answer your question, Steve,
So, interesting.
So at first, when you get them, I mean, obviously it's painful. So for like 2 weeks or so, you kind of have a rough time. But after I've had it for a couple years now at this point. Yeah, I don't even really notice it's there that much. I mean, you might see me kind of like just play with it just because it's kind of a natural thing. But blowing your nose, I mean, it doesn't really get in the way, honestly. Unless they're huge, that's as big as I'm going to go. Breathing doesn't affect breathing at all. I mean, because it's literally just through like the little soft. It goes through your skin, not like the cartilage, but it's like the little piece of skin right underneath your cartilage where your nose is. So I mean, it doesn't affect anything like a lot of people seem to think it does. I guess in a rude way is what I mean when people think that. But yeah, I mean, again, and when I started the channel, did I have it at that point? I don't think I did. And then I kind of just appeared with it one day, and I mean, since then, and it's one of those things that you come to realize like that. It's one of those things people just try to add to their tool belt of like, oh, I can insult you, and it's like, do you hear yourself? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're a grown adult doing this, but
you're a grown man. I mean, and I get like if you don't like them, fair.
Yeah.
Don't get one, and then just literally ignore everything else. Like when people have them. Like, it's none of your business at that point. Like,
Right.
it's I don't know.
The fact
You
we're
know
having to talk about this is
who can
ridiculous.
the fact that we are talking about your nose ring is ridiculous. The best response video I've ever seen to nose ring hate came from that Emily. What's her name? Is it Emily? She plays harp, and she plays harp, electric harp through pedals. And she's a friend of JHS and all of that. And I think Emily Hopkins, that's her name.
Yeah.
So Emily Hopkins gets a lot of hate for her nose ring. And she did a response video where it was like literally like 5 minutes of the camera just on her nose, like zoomed in.
That's great.
And like the camera like zoomed in, and then they were just slapping comments around her nose ring. It was the funniest thing I have ever seen. It was so funny. Steve Gunner says, I met my wife when she was 19 and still living at home. I was in a grunge hardcore band at the time. Long hair, multiple earrings, wallet chains, the whole bit. Her parents hated me at first. And then Keith said, Steve, they still do. Don't lie.
True words.
We got some zingers going around in my chat over here today. It's good. I wish that guy would show up. I cannot find. I know I went to his channel and watched a few of his shorts, but I can't find it on my history. And because you ended up deleting the comment.
Oh, to be fair, I didn't delete the comment. He did.
He deleted.
I don't delete comments. I don't delete any comments.
He was getting a little. He didn't like that. He's like, he didn't like that you called him out on his. But
you want to?
He's not walking. Jesus.
He went back on. I think it was on that same video or something. If you went to another video, thanks for the view, dude, and the interaction. And he commented. He said, "Hey, so I deleted my mean comment or whatever he said." And he said, "Your friend recommended your podcast. Like, what is it?" So he asked for the information again. So I just said, it's OnlyFrets Thursdays, blah blah blah, and told the whole thing. And I tried to tag him in the comment. It wouldn't let me do it. But yeah, so he knows.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, that's just the thing. And I tried to it was just really weird because at first I was like, okay, so I'm going to call him out on this, but I'm going to try to just be like, look, you can be cool here. Like, we're not going to, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to come here and just it's like, that was the only comment was like, you look like a bull, ditch the nose ring. I was like, are you a bull? Ditch the nose ring. I said, are you a punching bag? Ditch the attitude. Like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and then he's like, you're right, I can be this or whatever, and had some notion of humbleness about him. So I was like, well, look, man, and I gave him my spiel, and then it became about the fact that I gave him a compliment, but not good enough of a compliment.
Right.
Does that make sense? Like, I said, you're actually a decent musician. And he was like, I play 7 instruments. I'd hope you think I was more. It's like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, I literally extended 6 olive branches, and you snapped every single one of them off and said, those olive branches suck.
Well, you got to remember,
I don't.
The thing that screamed out to me everything I needed to know was when he said he was the lead guitarist for his church. I was like, ding, ding, ding. There you go. And then I said, I think that was one of the things I said was I was like, you must be one of those judge on Monday, pray on Sunday type dudes. And I'm like,
yeah, that was what you said.
Clearly, it's like you are. I mean, and it's like he got on here, he probably saw the devil horns, and he's like, oh no, or whatever. So,
I mean, shots fired. It is what it is, dude. Like, that's if you're
record,
gonna come on there and be
and I know it sounds like I'm just attacking the one. I'm like, look, I'm not a religious person really, but you do you, but don't sit and try to say something like that and then turn around and say, but I go to church. Like, you didn't have to tell me that. I know that, but it's in your attitude, dude.
Yeah, if you do, maybe, like I said, maybe a little less guitar while you're there and a little more of listening to the sermon, because it's probably got some lessons in there you need to learn if you're going to run around trying to bully people for their appearance online. A couple quick ones. We've got Yossi says, I have never heard of nose ring hate. I don't get it. Is this live? Yeah, it's a thing, Yossi. You should go check that emotion without thinking. Then sometimes feel bad about it.
Yep.
Second chance. I agree with that. I mean, like, watching Jonathan's phone is fine. It's gonna get, your boy fired up, and I'm gonna.
Yeah, that's
The internet really are deep down inside, and that actually wraps came too much stuff.
Yeah, I mean That's a great point. I mean, I do. I think it's just a lot of people have. The problem is everybody has an opinion and they have a way to voice that opinion, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, and it's too much for some people.
Yeah.
It's not a really powerful thing, but it can be a really powerful thing, and it's just some people go on a power trip and can't handle it. So, yeah. So there's that.
Yeah, man.
Moving on to something maybe a little bit lighter. Just reading off my little list here. I literally have a whole list that I copied from ChatGPT. Not sponsored. Here's, yeah, I know. This is what I said earlier. Genres you didn't expect to love as a guitarist. I could talk about that because I like a couple different genres other than like rock and metal. You got any? We'll start with you. Yeah, something that maybe not like, are you like a yodeler fan, like yodeling, or?
Well, just brief history. '60s, '70s, and rock Turner over
Right.
at the time. Talented singer, and so roots of me like a little dollar tree. I remember listening to was a huge fan of
Right.
huge. I
Hmm.
as well. Did I 17, 18, and pop
Yeah.
tail. I was expecting to become like a
Right.
and it was
Lucky.
I wasn't expecting pop. Did.
Right. Hmm. Nice. I got a chat over here real quick. Robert Charles, how you doing, buddy? He said it was an honor and a privilege meeting Electric Flamingo in person the other day. I'm the one who traded you the parts guitar kit. Yeah, got it right back there on the rack. I put the neck on
Nice.
it. I met him, traded a bunch of stuff, and I got a little kit. parts kit that I'm still debating. I'm still debating on what to do with that. If I can find the time to do something with it, I might soon. I don't know. But anyway, hey buddy, how you doing? Thanks for jumping in. So yeah, that's interesting. I would have never said that about you. Just knowing you, kind of how I know you. But I can't really say that I have a story kind of like that. I mean, because I kind of grew up on like 80s hair metal and stuff like that because my dad listened to all that kind of stuff. And then obviously through the 90s, you know, he was like a big, I don't want to say a huge Pantera fan, but like Pantera and Metallica and Megadeth and all that kind of stuff, you know, I grew up on. But at one point in time, I really got into, how would you say it? Kind of like lo-fi hip hop stuff, but like that 90s kind of, that had that kind of feel to it.
Like who? Our Side.
That out there.
I
think so. Yeah. Now I do still like them. I do still like that style of music though. I'll go back and revisit it sometimes, but I was real heavy on it. I got into like a lot of hip hop stuff, and I don't know if you remember this video that went viral years ago. The guy singing the pancake rap. I think we talked about that at one point. Mac Lethal, where he did the pancake rap to Black and Yellow.
Oh yeah.
Or not Black and Yellow. Look at me now. Not Black and Yellow. Look at me now. Cook with me now. That guy. Like I saw that video with him, and from there on, I went and explored his discography. And man, his album, I can't find it anywhere. And I wish I still had where I got it. Love Potion 2, awesome. North Korean Barbecue, it's another one by Mac Lethal. That's an absolute like banger front to back. I've listened to those two probably more than anything he's ever done. But yeah, I mean, stuff like that I was really into. And then I kind of got into like a lot of alternative stuff, which I know is kind of guitar related. But like I'm real big into one-hit wonders. Like if you're a one-hit wonder, you're like a pop star or like a rap star or something like that, and you have that one hit one, like I love it. I don't know what it is. One of my favorite types of music. Sugar, oh my god,
Sugar Ray.
I love Sugar Ray.
Like the big heavy one.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The Way.
Semisonic Closing Time.
Yeah, dude. Or
oh yeah, Smash Mouth. Yo, Smash Mouth has got some good stuff, dude. They do. They had some good. Yeah, they got some good stuff. There was that, and then like nowadays, real quick. Nowadays, I'm into like Glorilla, freaking Glorilla, man. I listen to her all the time. Big X the Plug. Holy yeah.
Glorilla.
Yeah, man.
Really?
Doja Cat. Like I like them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome, but I've been keeping up because I haven't.
Right. Yeah.
But I always hip hop and rap and R&B for sure. One that didn't come. For the longest time, but now he has a huge appreciation for it. I think that probably comes with just like playing guitar long enough. Like it becomes undeniable at some point that these guys are.
You eventually discover Drop D, and then you're like chugging along.
Yeah,
like I get it.
Right. Yeah, this is fun. It's powerful. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. R.I.P. Sly Stone, and then I added Jimmy says also R.I.P. Brian Wilson from Boys. And then Steve said we were talking about like Far Side and stuff. He said like Skilo, or Mountain Man, and then Mountain Man said, "What's Skilo?" Skilo is he sings that song, "Fuck You." I see you driving round town with the
CeeLo
girl I
Green,
love.
yeah.
But he was in a rap group in the early '90s, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. But and then also there was a guy in that group that I mentioned, Farside. And I was going to tell you, Jonathan, his name's Del the Funky Homo Sapien. And
I've heard of
if
him.
you want to hear some, if you want to hear, he did the Gorillas album. I ain't happy.
Yeah.
I'm feeling glad. Finally, someone let me out of my cage. That guy
Yeah.
is Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Huh.
And he put out one album by himself, but he was in the Far Side, which was a rap group, kind of like Tribe Called Quest. Like in that, exactly, Keith. Same brain, brother. He's just said Tribe Called Quest. Like, that era of hip hop is really fun. Really fun. Guys were starting to like really get good.
A lot of underground stuff.
It's a great.
I think that's the word I was thinking of earlier.
Yes.
I don't know why that conversation just brought that word out, but yeah, underground was what I liked. Kind of back.
Steve was talking about Skilo, which is, I believe, actually not CeeLo Green. Skilo, which
Skilo.
is he's a. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. Wish I had a girl who was good.
I know what you're talking about.
Wish I had a rabbit. Yeah, I think that's Skilo. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So many good ones. Talib Kweli, Mos Def, all those guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a great era of hip hop music, and conscious rap was really fun back then, and probably somewhat educational, and a lot less sort of volatile. It was just like, this is what it's like, and I think it was really good stuff.
You know who one guy that I discovered that I never really got into, but I don't know. It's Immortal Technique. You ever heard of him?
Mm-mm.
Immortal Technique is, I don't know. I don't want to say he's bad. There's just something about his style that I don't really care for.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's one guy that I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, and I'm just like, he's, maybe it's just his sound. I go a lot based on voice when it comes to rap. I'm like, if you got a good voice for it, you could say anything. You could say some of the most absurd shit ever, and it's like,
and they do. Like, you listened to Biggie lyrics recently? Like, you listen to like B.I.G. and you're like, man, what? Like, and I was like rapping that stuff, and I did not realize sometimes, lyrics just sort of. My kids sing that. Who's that? A country singer.
Jelly Roll.
Hold on. No. Kane Brown.
Oh, Kane Brown.
Yeah, that new song. Yeah, that new song, Miles, on it. And he's like talking about putting miles on that thing.
That thing, yeah.
Not the car. Yeah. And he's like talking about putting miles on something else. And they sing that song. And it's like, they're like, back of the Chevy with the end. And I'm like, stop, boy. What are you doing?
I got a fun thing going off of the rap thing. But I got a funny story like that. When I was in elementary school, freaking, you know that song, Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy? Everybody knows that song.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's
same kind of.
Dang it! Why can't I remember?
It's I always say it's Big and Rich, but it's not Big and Rich.
It is Big and Rich.
Is it Big and Rich?
Save a horse, ride a cowboy. Yeah,
it was one of
Big
those
and Rich, for sure.
Someone and Someone groups, and I always get the other one mixed up. But anyway, so the innuendos there, whatever. I remember vividly when I was in elementary school, probably. I want to say first grade. I don't know, something like that. Second grade, maybe. We would be in gym in the morning about 8 o'clock. We'd be running our little lap around the gym, and they would play music to us to run to. And they always played that song, and for whatever reason, all these little 7 and 8-year-olds in this gym, they'd go, save a horse, and all the kids would go, ride a cowboy. And I'm like, growing up and listening to that, I'm just like, oh, jeez, almighty. And then I remember going home and asking my dad to put that on a CD, because he'd always burned us CDs and stuff. I still got a bunch of them. But and I was always like, can you put that song on a CD? He's like, hell no. I told him recently, I thought about that, and I said, I remember
That's
that
really
so vividly, and I'm like, I get now why, because I hadn't thought about that in years until recently, and I was like, I get why you
yeah.
say no, or why you said no at the time. And he was like, yeah, I remember
Oh,
that.
100%. 100%. I mean, it's like I try to, like the boys. Okay, so I'm a rock guy,
Mm,
and we listen to, dude. We got in the car to go to a t-ball game last night,
yep.
and Metallica. Death Magnetic. And he's like back there just
Right.
love my young.
Yeah.
And we listen to AC walk around. Kid,
God, yeah. You're getting a phone call for sure. Yeah.
yeah,
See,
Steve says, "Save a horse, ride a cowboy" is better than Cardi B's WAP for sure. I mean,
yeah.
that's true.
See,
Things
that's one
have
of
devolved
those.
a little bit, become
Yeah,
more
and
literal.
I think it's more or less trying to. This is another maybe good topic, and we got a little bit of time for it too. A lot
Yeah.
of the songs that are written nowadays are supposed to, like, they're very chorus, short form content oriented, meaning they're there to get popular on
Yeah.
TikTok or Instagram Reels or whatever. That's the
Mhm.
and there's one big example that when it was coming out that I realized that this is where the music industry was going, and it was that Unholy song by Sam Smith. That is a terrible song.
Yeah.
It Okay, so when it was coming out, you heard it all over TikTok, right? You heard the chorus, right? And when it came out, everybody was like, "Oh, I want to hear the full song." And then it's kind of like a whatever, like the beat's kind of cool, the verse is whatever, and then it gets to the chorus, and then you got that millennial whoop in there. Have you ever heard of the millennial
Yeah.
whoop? Whoa, whoa, or whatever. And I was like, and I remember when I first
Yeah.
heard it, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh no, it's one of those. And then the girl, the feature comes in, and she just does like some vanilla, fits the theme of the song, just dirty innuendo kind of thing, like it always does. And then it just repeats the chorus. So it's literally verse, chorus, and that was the song. And I'm like, this is terrible. And I've noticed so many songs go that route. It's literally just verse, chorus, verse, chorus. Bridges are gone completely, and I love when you listen to old songs and you hit a bridge. Like sometimes that's the most memorable part of the song, besides the chorus, is like the bridge, you know. And I don't know, man. It
I'm
just
gonna take a minute and build off of what you're talking about. So if you want good music today, it is more than prevalent. Okay, I just say this into a camera on record for here until the eternity of internet. There is good music right now in 2025. These are the artists we're talking about. Jared James Nichols,
yes.
talking about Greta Van Fleet.
Mm,
We're talking about Larkin Poe, Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown. We're talking about we're Dirty Honey,
yes,
uh,
Dirty Honey. Yep.
Nick Perry and the Underground Thieves, uh, Matthew Scott, the Matthew Scott Band. He does. Everybody here should be familiar with Matthew Scott. He does awesome YouTube videos. His album is insane. There is Tuck Smith and the Restless Hearts. Particularly the album Ballad of a Misspent Youth, which Steve and I were talking about earlier. There is zero shortage of great music with bridges and well composed and thought out and like great songwriting and musicianship, but you gotta put the work in.
Yeah.
You can't just turn on your radio anymore because you're just going to get WAP or Sam Smith, and or Kane Brown, miles on it, back of the shit. Like you're just gonna get Chat GPT lyrics
Yeah.
from the radio. That's all you're gonna get is we're Chat GPT topic today, but that's you don't want it in your lyrics. Coheed and Cambria is still making amazing music. Their new album is probably the most popular one they've ever done.
Right.
And Anne Berlin is still out there touring. I mean,
yeah. And I want to say this too for the record. We're not trying to say that. I don't ever want it to come off where I always like to say the old man shaking his fist at the sky, where it's like there's not drum and bass and guitar in the song, so they're terrible. If it's an electronic song or if it's something that's made without a guitar or bass or real drums, it can still be good.
It's fine.
Yes. It's like you don't have to have like Jared James Nichols over there, whatever, or Dirty Honey, or whatever. You don't have to have them doing their stuff on here. It's good music. I get it. Music is subjective either way, but
you can have good rap without the mumble.
Right. That's like, exactly what I was going to try to say. Was I was
Lil Dicky put out an album like 5-6 years ago, and I listened to it on repeat over and over and over again. It was a great album. It was so good. He had a song where the hook was sang by the guy from what's the one? He sang 9 in the Afternoon.
He was the kind of Panic at the Disco. Panic at the Disco was
Panic at the Disco guy sang the hook. Yes, and it was like, it's the hardest act to follow. Really wish that I could call you, and in his voice, so it was like good, and it was just like this was good music. Okay, like it's out there in every genre, whatever you like. There's good country. Chris Stapleton is awesome.
Right. Yeah.
Marcus King Band. I mean, the list is endless for current great music, and you can get it without any compromise in the integrity of the music.
Yeah,
it's there for sure.
Yeah, like I said, it's I don't know. It's so hard to complain about that, just because, like I said, it's so subjective. It's hard to complain about art in general, because I mean, obviously, music, art, right? But yeah, I know it's all personal taste. I know it's all like what you like versus what other people like. But at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, we're just as entitled to our opinion as anybody else is. So
sure,
takes a little bit of that feeling bad for it out of it. But I don't ever put people down for what they listen to. Like I cannot stand country music at all.
That's
like
fair.
And living
That's
where
fair.
I live, especially when I was on vacation in Tennessee. When we went through, Pigeon Forge and stuff and got into Gatlinburg, I mean, it was just non-stop. And I get it. It's Tennessee. I get it. Whatever. But, like, dear God, I went to Dollywood, and the amount of time, like, look, Dolly Parton's one of those, like, kind of exceptions to the rule. Like, everybody just loves Dolly Parton, right? But if I had to hear freaking Jolene in some form or fashion in a jazz cover, and then like the original, and then like a piano cut, like if I had to hear that song again, I was there for like 6 hours, and it was just Dolly Parton hits nonstop. And I was like, I'm done with it. I can't do it anymore. And then you leave from there, and there's a fucking Margaritaville up the road, and then you hear Jimmy Buffett, the same Jimmy Buffett song over, and I'm like, how do these people just like off themselves working here? I don't get it. But like,
Tyson away, you tune it out eventually.
You do.
We did this thing when I was selling tools on the road called the Darkness Challenge, where we would just play A Thing Called Love over and over again. And if you went and turned the radio off, you had to load the truck by yourself or whatever at the end of the day. So like guys were just like, trying not to pull their ears off their heads listening to the Darkness, which I love the Darkness. So it's easy for me. But even like just hearing the same song over, I get what you're saying.
When it comes to country, like I can't. Ugh.
Do you like Stapleton though?
Yeah, like Chris Stapleton's good.
He's got a lot of soul in there that he mixes in. So I was just curious if that's something you could,
I mentioned Jelly Roll earlier. Like that dude.
Yeah.
It's so like it fits in perfectly with the theme of where it's at now, because it's it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just so, I don't want to say generic.
Every Jelly Roll song is I'm half bad and I'm half good.
It literally, yeah. It's like it
Literally,
fits to a
it's
theme.
the same theme.
Now,
It's
granted,
like
he's
I
not
do bad things, but I'm a good person. I try to be.
right,
And it's
and
like, hey, we got it, bro. We know.
it's a little
And he is a
different.
good.
It's
It's
a
like
little different. No,
whatever.
it's all good. It's a little different than the I'm gonna drink my beer and drive my truck and
Yeah.
you're the girl in the front seat and blah blah blah. All the same,
Right.
kind
Yeah.
of stuff that it's doing, but it's just like it's still just so. He just sounds to me kind of like every other country singer.
It's canned. It's
It's
canned
canned,
at this
exactly.
point. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. You know, there are some fun things in music, right? So we just have a couple comments. Greta Mountain Man saw Greta Van Fleet open for Metallica, and he's ashamed to say like Greta a little bit better in that performance, dude. No shade there. Metallica's awesome though, but what would Keith say? Metallica is probably the best concert he's seen. I have a similar experience. I loved the Metallica show I went to on the Saint Anger tour.
Oh, bless you.
Steve Gunner, maybe yeah. Hey, dude, they. I will say this on the Saint Anger tour, the beads were snapped on the snare drum, so we were good to go.
That's what I was gonna say. Did he bring the snare?
Oh, he had the beads on the snare on tour. Nickelback, great musicians in his honest opinion. However, the lyrics are generally just gross. Agreed for the most part. Although
Yeah.
my little 17-year-old self that still lives inside of me loves Nickelback lyrics. I love the song Animals. Their Dark Horse album was just like banger after banger. I liked Nickelback from day one, and I kind of still do. Every once in a while I just go on a Nickelback binge and I'll listen to him for like a day, and then I'm like, that's enough. I put him back in the drawer. Lenny Kravitz opened for the Stones. Liked him better than the Stones. That's fair. Lenny's awesome.
Yeah, Lenny Kravitz.
And then Steve has the old joke. What do you get when you play a country song backwards? You get your truck back, your house back, your dog back, and your wife back. Right?
And a brand new case of beer.
That's right.
No, and
Keystone probably.
so
Cougars.
just a quick point too, where someone said like, who's it? Greta Van Fleet opened for Metallica, and they like Greta Van Fleet better.
Mhm.
I feel like I would be in that same boat just because you look at and again, I'm not saying that when you get old you can't hang anymore, but you're looking at a
Right.
very stark difference there. You have kids in their like 20s versus the dudes in their 60s and 70s at this point almost.
Yeah.
So it's like, and again, I'm not
There-
saying that they can't
Greta
hang
is
anymore.
out
But
there being 25, exuding the energy that Metallica used to give you when you listen to their music. So
Right, 'cause
Greta
you
is
hear-
actually, because they're younger than you are, because you went to a Metallica show and you're probably a guy of a certain age. Greta is actually making you feel the way that you felt maybe at your first Metallica show, because
Right.
they're young. So they're projecting that out to you. So I totally get that.
Good old Greta Van
Yeah.
Zeppelin. But no,
Yeah.
and so to me, I've always said this with Metallica too. It's like, yeah, they're cool. I wasn't like the biggest fan of their latest album, but
Oh,
what I would give to
you
go
froze
back
up.
to like
Hold on, we lost
late
Jonathan.
80s, early 90s Metallica and go see them live, because I know that would be like
Okay.
one of the best concerts I've ever seen in my life.
All right,
But-
hold on, Jonathan.
Yeah, no good. You're good.
We lost you for a second. So where you were at when I lost you was you weren't the biggest fan of Metallica's, and then you froze.
Oh,
What were you saying?
I said so. I wasn't the biggest fan of Metallica's last album, right?
Yeah.
Like it's okay, cool. But I said what I wouldn't give to go back to like the late '80s, early '90s and see Metallica live then. I wouldn't really go see them.
Oh
now.
yeah.
If someone gave me tickets, I would probably go, but I would not actively seek out tickets to go see Metallica live. And I will say, I don't know if I mentioned this or not. There was a dude that watches the channel, right? He lives in Minnesota and came down to here because not far from where I live, Metallica and Pantera and all them were here, and they were doing it. And I believe I saw a separate post from somebody else somewhere, like on Facebook or something, that said that it wasn't the best show ever. Like it was, and I seem to see that
Okay.
more and more and more as Metallica is like not putting on. Which again, I get it. They're in their 60s or whatever, however the hell they are.
Dude,
I get it.
keeping up with yourself can be difficult at some point.
Right.
It-
But I don't know. It's just like I would not go see the Rolling Stones. Just wouldn't do it. But what I
I don't
wouldn't give
think I
to
would
go
either. My dad
back
said,
and see them in their prime.
my dad went, yeah, absolutely. My dad went to a show of theirs maybe like even 10 years ago, and he's like, dude, Keith Richards is a prop at this point. Like,
Right.
he can't play. His hands look like this, dude.
Have you seen those videos?
Shout out
of-
Mark Bergen. Thanks for
Sorry.
being here. Oh, no, you're okay. What were you going to say?
Have you seen those videos of Ricky Valley where he's still singing, I guess in Vegas or whatever?
Oh.
Have you ever heard the
No.
song Sherry, Sherry?
Oh, yeah. I know, Rick. Yeah, I know what
Yeah,
you're talking
so
about, but I
That
haven't
dude,
seen any of those.
Oh my God, he is like it's like they're wheeling him out on a gurney or something out there, like, and propping him up because he's just like so. He walks out and he's just like the song's playing and it's Sherry, whatever. But he's just like barely moving his leg. He just looks like he's just emaciated, dude, like all the time. And I'm like, dude, call it a day. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you got to stop marching guys out. I'm not a fan of like, dude, I'm a huge Temptations fan,
Yeah.
but I hate what they do on the casino circuit, and they just have other guys singing Temptation songs and they put them out as the Temptations. I hate it so much. It's like, I'm okay with like musicians retiring. I'm okay with that. Like, we can make space for new artists, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, Keith says he ain't singing. It's fake, but he loves it. And that's something to consider if he's having a good time. But based on what you're saying, maybe you couldn't tell that based on what you've seen, if he actually is having a good time or not. I guess if he's doing it on his own accord and not to make money for somebody else strictly, then I'm down with it. But like, at some point, David Lee Roth, who's on tour again. I mean, or like Guns N' Roses when they went back. It's like, dude, Slash can do that Miles Kennedy stuff all day long. I'm all for it. But like, Guns N' Roses dead, bro.
They're done.
Like, that group is dead. Like, it's not a thing. We don't need Axl.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need him. Like, his Miles Kennedy music all day. That stuff is
good.
Awesome. But yeah, I mean, and that's another thing too. It's like, men of a certain generation, musicians of a certain generation have really like clung to life for this stuff for some reason.
Yeah.
And I get it that's like kind of who you are. Like, we would never, Keith mentioned Tom Petty in the chat earlier. Like, we would never want Tom Petty to stop, or, if Eddie was still around, somebody says Wolfie is awesome. It just, at some point, there's not enough space for everybody. There's all these talented kids out here, and I want to hear what they have to say and like what kind of music they want. I mean, like, Nick Perry's not a kid anymore. He's the same age as me. He's 40, but his music is like, musically, he's kind of in his prime. And, it just, Matthew Scott's like probably in his late 20s at this point. I mean, there are people that deserve your ear out there in the world, and it's passing us by because the radio won't let go of classic rock, modern country, and trashy hip hop. Like, it's not good hip hop right now. I know, I grew up in the golden age. All the best hip hop albums were made around 2000. Like, they just were. Like, you had College Dropout, Kanye West. I mean, Kanye now, I don't need to hear from him, but Kanye then, dope music. You had Word of Mouth by Ludacris. You had Chronic 2001, Dr. Dre and Snoop. I mean, like, all of the best music was put up. Nas, Stillmatic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jay-Z, I mean, these guys were just like, it was the prime time of a lot of musical genres, and the guys that kept rock and roll alive were Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah.
Like 100%. Songs for the Deaf was like Led Zeppelin 1 for my generation. Like that was the rock and roll album. Like
Yeah.
you were really edgy to like put on Queens of the Stone Age song for the Deaf. That was like people weren't hip to that yet, but
To
yeah,
me,
man.
it's like
Anyway,
TV shows and stuff where they try to reboot, or like movies where they like try to reboot a movie 20 years later. It's we have it already. We did it. We all still enjoy it or whatever. But like now, like let it
it's
go.
still good.
It's still good. Like
RoboCop was fine.
right, Dumb and Dumber was fine. Dumb and Dumber
It was
wasn't
fine.
terrible, but it was like you're not
I
gonna
didn't
recapture
spend
the
my life
magic.
wondering what happened to them after the movie was over. You know, I didn't
Especially
need
when
the
they end it
sequel.
like yeah, or like where they like one thing that Dexter, the show Dexter, where they did like a follow up after it. That was fine, but it's like they're trying to reboot it again. I'm like, it's done. If you saw the sequel to it or whatever, it's done. You can't. You're done.
Yeah,
Not to spoil it for
I
anybody.
don't
I'm not
need a
going to,
girl
but
version of Dexter.
right.
Like,
Like I don't. I don't know. It's just it really, and it's all cash grab. Same thing with music, shows,
it
movies.
is.
It's all cash grab, and that's
Yeah.
where there's no artistic value in hardly anything anymore. You said it though. It's out there. There are people that are still in it for the love of the game, but you know,
Yeah. I
it is
mean,
what it is.
Metallica has the right to tour, and I don't have a problem, and they should because,
Yeah.
they're kind of an institution, but at some point, if you can't keep up with your own, I mean, king of the down pick, like
Right.
can't do it anymore. We gotta have a talk about that, and just be like,
Yeah.
listen, man, thank you. Like, but we got this kid in Polyphia or like whatever, whatever you're into.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like Jared James Nichols is ready. Maybe he could have the opportunities that were afforded to somebody like why can't Zach Wild. Like
Yeah.
maybe Jared needs to like step into that role and be that guy, and that's good and that's okay. Shout out quick to Brian at Searching for Tone. Thanks for jumping in. Appreciate you, brother. And yeah, I mean, I think we need to make room sometimes for what's coming and stop hanging on so tightly to the people I listed earlier are doing things in the spirit of that kind of music.
Yeah.
and so they are keeping it alive if you let them. Like, we don't have to
Right.
life support the music because other people are making it and it's really freaking good. Like,
Right.
really, really good. There's this song by Larkin Poe called Let It, or Might As Well Be Me, I think. And that ballad is like, I can't even tell you
Hmm.
like how good it is. It's such good music,
Right.
and it's all out there. There's I know you don't like country, but if you do dig, like you said, Dolly Parton gets a pat, she gets a pardon. The Dolly Parton pardon. But like, there's a gal called Hannah Dasher that does country music. She plays guitar,
Hmm.
and she grew up on that kind of female country music.
Right.
Talking Dolly, you're talking the Judds, you're talking Trisha Yearwood, and
Shania
God,
Twain.
why
All
can't
that.
the Shania, the redhead? Who's the redhead who did she did a TV show for Reba
Reba
McEntire?
McEntire. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and Hannah Dasher is of that ilk, and her music is awesome. Like, I love her music so much, and I don't love modern country for the most part, but her music, I'm down with it. Like, it's good. So, I mean, I do think if you're willing to look, you can find really good music right now.
That is true. It's out there.
Man, I'm like emotionally tired from giving everybody that talk. Like I was shaking. Jonathan,
We got real heavy
good
there.
Lord.
Like in the last 20 minutes, we were just like, "This is our point." Like we got so passionate about it. It's funny.
It's good. It's good. Usually
is
we're
good,
pretty we're pretty reserved. We try to keep our opinions. I think we're starting to come out of our shell in that way, which is fun.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
All we got to do is get some more
Well,
people in the
the hate,
freaking
the
chat.
hate in the comments got us fired up. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say we got to get more people in the freaking chat on both sides. Like 1 week it's you, 1 week it's me.
I know. So big thanks to everybody for showing up for us today. And then I have like 23 views at the moment, which is like pretty decent. Not as good as that first Thursday we did. We had a bunch of people come in on that day.
We thought that was the magic hour, and it just
I know.
I've not recaptured it. Trying to reinvent
No,
the wheel here, I guess.
but we got all the good folks. You know, the bros are hanging out on my
we
channel.
Got ones that matter. Stick around forever. So
Yeah, that's right.
good. I mean,
quality over quantity.
Exactly, and we just have a good time. So we always just try to do it just to have a good time. It ain't no money grab, nothing like that here. We're in it for the love of the game, like I said earlier. It's just two bros hanging out. That's what it should be. But we have... Yeah, let me see. I think my Pocket Master's going to die, but I'll give you some... I don't know how loud that is, but...
Good.
I came up with a little riff earlier, and I can't remember how it went.
Do it.
Something like that. I can't remember exactly how it went.
Yeah, man.
The gist of it.
That's nice. Dude, the intro riff you did on your Flying V video recently was such a banger, dude.
I don't even remember. That video's been sitting there in my queue being pushed out and pushed out and pushed out for months. So you probably noticed my room was completely different. Still a cluttered mess.
Yeah, anyway. It definitely looked like a previously filmed video for sure, but it was good. I was listening to the intro track and I was like, damn, that's cool. Speaking of which, let's talk about things coming up. I just dropped yesterday or the day before. I think it was Tuesday. I dropped mine and Keith at For the Love of the Guitars, who's been hanging out. I dropped our Tone Deep episode. Really, really fun conversation to just have with bro, kind of like what we do every week, but in recorded format. Talked about a lot of stuff, got to know a lot about Keith and his, sort of beginnings and journey to YouTube and, being a guitar playing dad and all kinds of fun stuff. That was a great video. And actually Keith and I recorded the intro and outro track together, which was a lot of fun. And then I'm hoping a week ago. And so one for the month, which was a lot of fun. A 6-8.
Ooh.
Your boy is working on my off.
No 4-4 for you.
No 4-4 for me on Friday. We're gonna be.
Yeah, those are always fun. Those are always fun.
Yeah. Yes.
Kind of maybe some more of the same kind of stuff. Just a couple reviews got that are already done. I'm trying to look at my list here. I do have an interesting video coming out about power supplies. I know that sounds incredibly riveting and fun to listen to, but that was a kind of an interesting idea. Like, are you using the right kind of power supply? Because I've run into issues with them before, and I figured that's like an informative thing. I have a topic video that I need to get done. It's going to be talking about our good old friends Guitar Center, but in a bit of a different way, positive or negative, however you want to look at it. I did just get another guitar ordered today because I've been frantically selling some stuff, and that one I'm super excited to show off once it shows up, maybe before the next stream. I don't know. Another little desktop amp because I love those things. Genuinely, I do like them. They're weird. They're weird because they'll be speakers that are that big, right? And you can get other things that have speakers like that. Yeah. It's like, it sounds like crap. But for whatever reason, these companies can make these little tiny speakers sound really good for what they like. I'm not saying they're like the end all be all, but like, man,
yeah.
I genuinely will use it if I'm just kind of sitting here working or something, and I just, or I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, oh, but I want to hook up my big amps. I'll plug into one of the little amps and just boom, boom, done. Travel with them. I mean, they're great. They really are. I like them. I don't know.
Have you ever done the Spark?
I've tried them briefly. I think I've tried the big. Is it a bigger one? Yeah, something like that. Like like a little tiny head. Yeah. I think something like that. I've tried that one for a couple of minutes at a Guitar Center, but I don't even know if it was working correctly.
I think it would be cool.
Yeah, like the real tiny one. Yeah. Yeah, those like. Yeah. That's what I was saying. Really?
And get a custom.
I like that idea. Flamingo. Yeah, that's cool.
You might have all these like.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah. I think I emailed Positive Grid like, God, it's got to have been like a year ago, and I don't think I ever heard back from him. But again, that was back before I've kind of hit my little boom or whatever. But yeah, I mean, kind of more of the same. Just I know, hard to believe. And you know what? It's funny too. I've actually had probably my quickest bit of growth from where I hit, like, because I'm always kind of like within 100 subscriber spurts. I think this is probably the quickest I've gone from, that 100 kind of span. I think I hit 4,500 recently, and I'm already almost at 4,600. So traffic's kind of starting to go like that. I mean, my videos are. I'm kind of disappointed in my SG Junior video. That I thought that was really like, I changed the title of it and I just called it the Mick Gibson because I thought it was kind of funny. But
that was really funny, dude. Everybody.
See, that was an interesting concept, wasn't it? Right? Yeah, it's my SG Junior I got over there. I almost thought about playing that.
Like the S.
Yeah, it's exactly. Yeah.
Junior.
That they do. But even the Epiphone one, they did that as a limited edition thing. Like, they literally capped it. I think they capped it at 600 units worldwide. And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, Okay.
Wow.
Like, and that's part of the reason I grabbed one, because I was like, you know, it's kind of cool. But I don't know. It just is one of those. Really, you have an SU Junior. It's kind of, you know. I saw a '90s one for sale recently. It should just, yeah, it should just be a definite part. But yeah,
Isn't the SG like their highest grossing?
I guess technically yes, it would be, because they've never been discontinued. Like, the standard has never been discontinued since it was introduced. So I mean, it's been
Right.
consecutive in their lineup since what, '61. And unless you count it when it was called the Les Paul, like, does that count? It's like, well, yeah, I mean, it's the shape or whatever, but I don't know. I digress.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's, I got a bunch of older videos that need to come out. Got a comparison later on. I'm looking like months ahead, but yeah, just stuff like that. You know, I need to get that Rogue video filmed on that one red Rogue that I got, the sparkly one. But got another guitar coming from another company. It's a newer company. It's like a little Amazon thing, so I don't get too excited about it. But you know, things like that. Just kind of general stuff.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Comments so we can get Steve
That would be awesome.
drawing.
Yeah.
Get a Podgo. They're $400, and they're fantastic. Yes, he knows because he won one. They were free to us. And then Mountain Man, thank you for dropping everybody's links in the chat. That is very helpful. I want everybody to go sub to Brian at Searching for Tone and Yussi's channel, and Keith for the love of guitars. Keith's new.
Ooh. It's easy. Ha 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 ha. I like that idea, and I think Keith, he's on my channel too. He says, "Good stuff, guys. You both are really cool dudes." I appreciate that. So I think, just because you said that, we'll be back next Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, with OnlyFrets. I think we'll do that.
Yeah.
So
Sounds good to me. Everybody have a wonderful day, and we'll catch you next week.
yeah, we'll see you later. I'd strum out, but my Pocket Master died, so